Welcome to Therapy Unlocked, where we discuss all things therapy from an unlocked perspective. I'm Emily Huffman, and I'm here with Katrina.
Hello, Katrina Mondragon, licensed professional counselor. All right, so like I said, I am a professional, but not your professional. So nothing we're going to talk about today should be taken as medical, legal, or otherwise advice. This podcast is purely for education and amusement. That is it. That's the disclaimer.
Education, amusement, and because I would like to be famous. So please like, subscribe, follow, engage, hate on us, join the conversation, find us on YouTube, find us on Instagram, find us anywhere where you listen to podcasts, because I love a creeper and I love a hater and I love a lover. So if you like the podcast, if you dislike the podcast, I'd like to hear from you. All right, guys, welcome back to Therapy Unlocked. We've got Katrina Mondragon here, our illustrious host, double credentialed, licensed professional counselor. And then myself, Miss Emily Huffman. I am your unqualified opinion today. And we are Therapy Unlocked. We're here to unlock the mind, one conversation at a time. And today we are discussing compassion, empathy, and the burnout thereafter.
Have you ever heard of compassion fatigue?
I have not. Please illustrate. Tell me more.
It's something that like therapists or nurses or doctors can get from like working with a lot of trauma or having like high stress jobs. And then like, I don't know if you know this, but the two things that go out the window when anybody gets busy, I don't care what industry you're in, but generally when we get busy, the two things that go out the window are our fitness and our food. And so you go with what's quick and easy to eat, and then that's not necessarily the most nutritious. And then fitness kind of goes out the window or minimal. And that those are both necessary things. So compassion fatigue can come from not getting enough of the things that replenish us, as well as having those high stress situations.
You can get hangry. You can get hangry, folks. You can also get angry when you are thirsty, when you are tired. I think those things are undervalued and underestimated. And I think in professions such as yours, as a professional counselor, or maybe even a medical professional or an entertainer, there's a level of exhaustion there. And there's a level of self-sacrifice of your time over maybe the ability to self-care with like food and things along those lines, because the position that you're in is one where you have to be locked into providing that service. And it doesn't often allow for your own personal schedule.
And boundaries make a difference. Being in private practice myself, I don't get the burnout that other clinicians do when they're working with caseloads of like 50, 60, 70, 100 people at a time. And at that point, people's stories start to get mixed in clinicians' heads. I don't know how they can keep track of that many stories.
I imagine it's just the calling. I know there are good clinicians in that public service sector because I've met them. But no, I know there are good ones. Okay. I know they're out there. They're there for the dedication. They have that calling to it and they have that talent that they unlocked for the calling that they have. But I myself, there's no way. I get compassion fatigue as a mother. Now, calling it compassion fatigue is not something I had done before. I think for me, it was empathetic burnout, to where I have felt so much of what others have felt as a mom that now I am touched out or I'm talked out or I just don't have much more to offer up in a scenario. You know, I'm just at the place where, hey, I'm so sorry, or hey, I'm just present with you. And I'm not saying that isn't enough. Don't anybody sit there and go, oh no, I'm not enough. No, you are enough. I'm just saying it does occur that I may be more or less empathetic given the circumstances, you know, and I think it's probably a very similar experience to just get bombarded with a lot of other people's feelings.
Yeah. And there's, you'd make me think of something and then I just lost it. What were you just saying?
To getting bombarded with other people's feelings and getting maybe touched out, getting talked out, getting, you know, to the point where you have less of your typical empathy to offer, but you're still doing enough. You just have that empathetic burnout to where you would have felt this more had you had more time to recharge.
Oh, on recharging, yes. So that's what I was going to mention. Do you know the difference between solitude and isolation?
I do not.
Whether or not you're enjoying it. So solitude is an enjoyable experience. One is alone, one is recharging,
Mhm.
one is maybe in nature and like enjoying the alone time and recharging, like you said. And that's a great way to recharge on empathy is to be alone with oneself. And then isolation is withdrawing. It's being alone and being miserable, not wanting to be alone, wishing you were connecting with others, but not necessarily being able to or having the motivation to.
So there's isolation, which is a place of despair, a place of darkness, and then you have solitude, which is a place of solace, a place of healing, a place of recharging, gaining your
Peace.
self-care and your batteries back. Gotcha. Interesting. I am very much into I value my peace and my solitude. I need my alone time. Um,
Well, are you
but
an
at the
empath?
same Yeah, absolutely. Oh boy, do I have a hard time in crowds. And it's not so much even the crowds, it's just the switching of the feelings, so to speak. I'm looking over at one person, I'm like, oh, look at that happy family. They're so adorable. I'm looking over at someone else, I'm like, they're about to break up. Oh no. Oh no. And it starts to feel like too much. I don't think I can handle it. I'm a live streamer frequently now by day, right? And so people come through and they provide me with their feelings and I'm feeling them. Oh man, they're hitting me all the time. And then I have to go practice that solitude. I've got to
That's
go
something
get
that's
that
been
alone time.
debatable, whether or not the energy can be transmitted, the energy of emotions can be transmitted through the internet. What do you think?
It's in the depth of people's words. It's in what is said. Even when what is said is insulting or hurtful in some way, I always feel like it is in those people's words that they themselves are hurting. And they are just going forth trying to hurt some people randomly to take the edge off, and it's just not working out for them, you know? So I have so much empathy for that. I am a heel defender. I'm a troll defender on that. I'm like, you know what? Are you doing okay? I will ask them that. I will be like, are you doing okay? It's a wild choice to feel like you need to go through the internet just talking schmack to whoever you see. You don't know me. Are you okay? You know, you want to sit with this for a while? You want to think about it? Um, I've been known to say it, and you know, I've made some friends that way. I have some followers that came in as trolly trolls. But you know, I'm okay with that. I'm down for that.
I heard another podcaster describe people, humans rather, as just children. If we think of everybody as children and we never really, nothing magical happened when we turned 18 to make us grown, except the law said we're grown. And
I
if we
love
just
it when
think
you
of
say
that, we're
that.
all just a bunch of children trying to figure it out, then it's not so much people being maybe intentionally cruel, even, but maybe it's like,
No,
oh, what happened to you?
they are cries for attention. It is a cry for attention. And I don't know if that's the mom in me because I get quite offended when they call me mommy. I don't know if that's the mom in me or if that's just that's the empath, so to speak, the quote unquote empath, or maybe just the hyper vigilant, deeply traumatized individual that has seen a lot of people in pain. But I see somebody in pain and I'm like, yo, you hurting. I'm so chopped. Okay, honey, that's
What is
fine.
chopped?
Oh, chopped is new lingo. You don't know? Oh man, if you're chopped, you're like not slaying at all. You're like totes not serving at that time. Some people are serving cunt and some people are totally chopped. Okay.
You lost me. Serving what?
It means you're ugly.
Okay.
It means ugly.
So you don't
People
want to
on the
be
internet,
chopped.
people on the internet now will be like, you're so chopped. And I'm like, you're too young to be here. Block. You don't know. I know that lingo. That lingo doesn't belong to my generation.
There are generational differences, I think, when it comes to doing therapy. Have you ever noticed that there is like, well, I'll just give you an example of a book I read by Marsha. I think it was Marsha Linehan. Maybe it was a different one, but it was back in like the 80s and 90s. One of the things that people complained about therapists doing was like smoking in session, falling asleep in session. And those are things that I can't even think of like a clinician doing nowadays. But I have heard stories. I've heard stories of people falling asleep in session.
I don't know if I would mind a little in session napping or gardening. I could garden. I could have a gardening therapy session. That'd be fine. I've heard of those. I've heard there are a few of those about.
That would be a
I
poor
couldn't imagine
boundary.
that happening now. I couldn't imagine that happening now. But with the advent of telehealth, as someone who does telehealth yourself, which anybody interested in booking, that would be Oklahoma and Massachusetts, head up the website. But that said, with the advent of telehealth, do you find yourself in the position where the client is doing something and you're questioning yourself as a practitioner as to whether you should be going on with your session?
Only in terms of, well, one time I've had somebody in a moving vehicle and I had to say, we cannot have a session with you in a moving vehicle because that's not something that's allowed. We have to be stationary, we have to have privacy, and we have to have like I have to know where the person is. So they can be in a car, but I need to know if they're at the corner of this and that in the parking lot or whatever. And like that way, in the case of an emergency, if they pass out, I could call their emergency contact or the authorities, whatever needed.
Right, because technically you are in an official appointment, so you're bound
Mhm.
by regulations surrounding. Interesting. Interesting. I tend to take my telehealth appointments in bed. I feel like it's the most
That's
ideal
fine.
place for a health appointment. Man, do I love just sitting on my bed waiting instead of going to a waiting room. Telehealth was everything for me. Like, I praise it on the reg. I'm like, oh, I have an appointment. Oh, I have an appointment online. I don't have to go anywhere. I will show up this time,
So let's
naturally.
ask this one from a consumer perspective. Is it better for you to receive a link every week, or is it better for you to know where to go and just go to the same place every week?
I'm going to guess it is very personality based, but I personally like to receive that weekly link because I'm not only avoidant attachment in my relationships, I'm avoidantly attached to therapy. Okay. Don't get me wrong. I love therapy. I love it so much. It's the best thing for me, best thing for my life. That said, when I start to love it a little too much, I'm going to run the other way. It's harder to ghost them if they send me a link and they're like, I'm waiting for you. Well, then I feel a little guilty and I should probably show up. So I do like to receive a link. It gives me a little guilt trip. But I don't know. Others could chime in the comments and tell me what they think. I think it's very much personality based or attachment style based. I had That's all the time we have for today. Thank you for joining Therapy Unlocked as we unlock the mind one conversation at a time, discussing all things therapy from an unlocked perspective. You can find Therapy Unlocked on most major streaming platforms, wherever you enjoy listening to podcasts. We are also present on YouTube and Instagram, and we hope that you will like, follow, subscribe, and join the conversation. We'll see you next week as we continue the dialogue and continue unlocking the mind one conversation at a time. Have a great one.